Hey, welcome back, everybody. Happy couple days after the gauntlets ended. Hope you all are rested up and relaxed. And if you either played the gauntlet or you spectated it, hopefully your nerves have settled. You're doing whatever is relaxing and exciting to you. First of all, we have a date. It is actually exactly 1 month from 3.18 launching, which I'm very, very excited about. Leagues do get a little long in the 2-3 months long, but I think that that's okay. I think it is absolutely okay for a league to not be played every single day. You can pick the content that you want to do, set your own personal goals, and just stop playing after that. However, if you're like me, you play a lot of builds every single league, and it eats up a lot of time. You know, as someone who is full-time playing this game, making a lot of different builds, leveling them all up, you know, not quite on the scale of Mathel by like fully dedicating myself to making a build basically every single week, but of the scale of I probably do between 8 and 12 builds a league, depending on how many builds catch my eye and, you know, what we're doing. And that often takes a lot of time, you know, between leveling up a new character, buying the gems, getting the gear, speccing it. I spend a lot of time researching builds, playing in PoB, going to PoE Ninja, you know, looking at all different flavors of things, really fine-tuning a build and like making sure that it feels really, really good before I make a build guide and share it and all that. And in fact, some of my bigger experimental builds, like my Cast on Crit Arc Raider with the cold conversion, that build took me about 3 weeks to really put together from formulation until final build guide and all that. And that is a lot of time. And I wanted to do something a little fun, both as a personal challenge to myself, you know, just to do something kind of entertaining yesterday on stream. And that is to speed run putting together a build. And what do I mean by that? So I had a character that was level 65. It was a Pathfinder, Poisonous Concoction. It was actually what I had used to do some like preparation for the gauntlet. She was just kind of sitting there. She was an SSF, had nothing on her, level 65, didn't even have any of her passes or anything. And I wanted to see how quickly I could go from level 65 Pathfinder to level 90 plus Flicker Strike Raider. That was like good gear, big D damage, killed Maven was the end game goal. And how quickly could I do that? And this is kind of a fun thing that you can do with anything in life is if you usually do something very freeform, you waste a lot of time just kind of putzing around like, oh, I'm just gonna Google it and oh, I got distracted. I'm watching YouTube. Oh, whatever, right? And then, oh my God, 3 hours later, what the heck did I just do with my time? Totally unstructured, didn't get any work done. You know, you could have been sitting at your desk and maybe you open Twitch or something and and you're supposed to get that bug fixed or whatever, and your manager's breathing down your neck. Just by getting a little bit of a light structure, and maybe this is a thing that helps me a lot, is setting a little bit of a competitive framework around what I'm trying to do, even if it's not super explicit. At least for me, that can go a long way towards, you know, incentivizing myself to actually get the work done and finish something. So starting off, I had that level 65 Pathfinder, Poisonous Concoction. She was missing like half of her passives, was absolutely nothing. I already had some gear. If you saw my Shaco gambling stuff that I did a couple weeks ago, I already had a couple pieces of gear ready to go for the final build. Not all of it. In fact, I didn't even know exactly what flavor of Flicker Strike I wanted to do. The big question there being crystallized Omniscience or not. And so what I did to kind of be in the vein and the flavor of doing a speed run is I actually wrote out a route. I routed it out. You know, I set my plan of like, my real goal is I wanted to do it in about 4 hours. Spoilers, it took closer to 5. I put together the route, and this is the rough outline right here, is make the character not glass. This means my character had like 2,500 life. It had negative res. It had just killed Kitava. There was like, you know, it was not a real character. So I had to make the character just so I could even play it a little bit. Then I wanted to go back and get all the passives that I had missed, leveling up to Act 10. Then I bought one Rhoda. I wanted to get that. I did a 5-way Rhoda, and definitely check out my video on that if you're not familiar with it. I wanted to leech a single Rhoda, get as close to level 90 as possible, then respec to Raider. You can respec an Ascendancy by you can just do normal lab, level 33 normal lab. When you get to the end, unspec all of your Ascendancy points, then you talk to the altar, and it will let you change your Ascendancy. So I wanted to change to Raider, then go back to my hideout, buy all of the gear and the gems that I needed for the character, and then spend a little bit of time fine-tuning the build, do some Blood Aqueducts, do some white maps, go up to red maps, fine-tune it, and think about the specific, you know, tweaks that you can do there that might be more for you than what you see on PoE Ninja or even a build guide on YouTube. And, you know, I did a couple things here that are actually not unique, but different than what I saw anyone else doing on PoE Ninja. As soon as I can do a couple T16 maps, then fight Cirrus and then Maven. And then once Maven is down, mission was complete. That took roughly 5 hours. You know, it was an RTK speed run, so I didn't have an actual timer going. I wasn't pausing or anything. I just said, hey, I started at 2:40, and I think I ended at about 7:30. So a little bit less than 5 hours. And for me, that was, and especially doing it on stream and chatting with people, that was a significant time saver. Normally, the way that this would go is I would just kind of be putzing around on stream, chatting with people like, oh, well, let's shop around. Let's go to the trade site. Let's see what's there. Like, oh, do I want an awakened gem? Like, don't like this. Play the build for like 2 days maybe. And like, oh, this thing's uncomfortable. And this process for me usually does sand the edges. Like if I have a build that like I really want to dedicate myself to and like fine tune and make like a really crispy build guide, I think that process is okay because it really means that I understand the build from like bottom to the top. But in this situation, I wanted to just like speed run putting that build together and just have something that was fun to play. So yeah, that's what the experience was. I was able to pull that off, and it was just kind of a cool little thing. I'm going to spend just a couple minutes showing you what this build is, and my plan is to go into more detail in the video tomorrow, so definitely get subscribed for that. It is a Crystallized Omniscience Flicker Strike build. It is not a hyper-unique anything. There are a billion of these out here, but this is actually my first time playing Flicker Strike for more than 10 minutes. It is a very polarizing skill, to say the least. You may love or hate the skill. It is, but it is a defining characteristic of Path of Exile for sure. The main thing I just wanted to like touch and get that idea bouncing around in your head is the fact that you can go, you know, especially for subsequent builds, right? You got 20, 50, 100x in your stash, and you want to make your second or third build for the league. Consider thinking about those shortcuts and the ways to speed it up. You know, there were actually, you know, there were some people teasing in chat. They weren't being serious, but there were people teasing like, oh my God, you're doing 5-way carry rotas and stuff like that. And like, I can't believe Resident Sleeper, et cetera, et cetera. This actually makes me think a lot of like the Dark Souls critique, right? Where if you use magic or you use summons, people will criticize you. And, you know, the people in chat were just teasing. But, you know, that is like a mindset that I always want to push up against is if it is a tool or a technique that is in the game that is clearly blessed by the developer, it is not against TOS, you know, it's fair game, right? As long as you are having fun doing that, it fits into your lifestyle, it enhances the fun that you're having in the game. Whatever you can do to accomplish that end game goal and maximize your fun, that's all that matters, right? And so I say if you enjoy, you know, paying for a rota or doing a carry or, you know, doing group play or slowly doing SSF and doing personal challenges, like the flip side of that coin, they are all equally valid ways to play. No way of playing the game, as long as you are having fun, is better than another way, right? If you're a hardcore soul self-found Giga Chad, or if you're a softcore trade juicer and you do, you know, Cast on Death Portal, they are like literally equal, plain valid, as long as both people are having the same amount of fun, right? I always want to hammer that in. There is no superior way of playing the game. But anyway, let me show you guys just a quick map with this build. I will quickly explain it, and the next video tomorrow will go into a lot more detail. It'll be focused on the build itself. We're just doing a Toxic Sewer here, really quick. Rolled up, Breach, Harby, gonna toss Beyond on it, and Toxic Sewer is very good for Flicker Strike. The way that Flicker Strike works is your character will teleport to an enemy and attack it, and then it will go on cooldown. However, you can spend frenzy charges to bypass that cooldown and continue attacking. So basically, you want to have a character that will be generating frenzy charges as often as possible. You can see what we're doing here. This is the typical setup, is you use Feral's Fur with Aspect of the Cat, and so you will gain your max number of frenzy and power charges when it is tick-tocking between Cat's stealth and Cat's agility. And so with the Feral's Fur, and especially since we have Blood Rage and we are Raider and we are Frenzy Charge stacking, we are able to just always have max Frenzy Charges, always be attacking, and always be flickering around and hitting all of the monsters. It is a crazy build. You are teleporting around constantly. If you get motion sick or you can't stand not controlling your character, It can be very, very uncomfortable. This is a very polarizing skill. This is my first time playing it for more than, just a little bit. I do understand the appeal, and it's a thing that I'm not against playing more in the future. But yeah, I'm going to go into more detail about that in the video tomorrow. I have this Forbidden Shaco that, if you saw the Gamble video, I did divine this with 3,500 divines. I definitely very much overpaid. But you can buy an equivalent one for about 30x right now. They're not very much in demand. So definitely, if you're interested in this build. Also, this flavor of the build, minus the shield, you can actually do like something a little bit different for the shield. You can put this build together for less than 100x. We calculated it all out on stream yesterday. You can get very close to this build for less than 100x. So if you're interested in that right now, if you've never played a Flicker Strike build and you want to play something really, really strong, you can put this together pretty, cheaply, all things considered. In the past, this would cost much, much more. Specifically because Crystallized Omniscience is OP as hell. But yeah, all you do is you hold down right click or Q or whatever you have. And especially in a map like this, your character will just teleport around. Yeah, I'm actually trying to go forward, but my character is teleporting backwards there. And you'll just teleport around doing insane DPS. I think this character is around 30 million DPS with all of my cooldowns up and everything, and when I have my gem swap for single target. I currently have melee splash in for better clear, instead of, I think, elemental damage with attacks. But yeah, that was the boss right there. The boss is dead. I'm still at like 20 million DPS with my clear setup here. And yeah, it is a fairly squishy build. I would recommend considering Cast on Death Portal for something like this. I'll toss the POB in the description below if you want to see what it is like right now. But yeah, tomorrow I'll go into a little bit more detail about it. Yeah, this was really fun. This was like a, just a personal challenge of mine for something that I had never really, forced myself to do, is like, how can I take a different look at a way that I do something in the game that I've wanted to improve, right? Like, when I've spent 3, 4, 5+ days putting together a build on stream and just thinking how inefficient that is, this is like my 8th build of the league. There's nothing interesting about me spending 3 days just leveling up a new character on stream, at least to me, right? I think it's, especially when we're in softcore trade, I'm a casual build enjoyer. I'm a mechanics enjoyer. I like the feel of a completed build that just is fun to pilot, fun to play, and just kind of quirky and interesting. If you've never played Flicker Strike, this will either turn you on or turn you off. I'll put the POB below. But yeah, it was a great time yesterday, challenging myself and trying to speed run, trying to go from a level 65 nothing character. I actually ended up hitting level 94, basically naturally. I ended at level 88 after the Rhoda, and just playing the character, it goes so quickly, just flying through the maps. This is one of the fastest builds for mapping that I've ever played. It has enough damage. Now, it is a little glass cannon. You want Cast on Death Portal for that. You could fly through triple beyond, at least like 40-60% delirious maps very, very cleanly. And really, really good farmer, actually, for less than 100x. Compared to other builds that you're going to be spending around 100x on, like in that cohort, I think this is very competitive. And I actually built mine more tanky. Mine has 3,800 life, unlike the ones you see on PoE Ninja that have like 2.9k. Also, no cluster jewels. I'm doing no cluster jewels at all, and I subbed in and inspired learning, whereas other people are using headhunters and triple cluster jewels for like min-maxing their damage. So yeah, this is like a budget version that you might want to consider in the future. But yeah, main thing wanted to focus on. Sorry, easy for me to get sidetracked here a little bit because I'm a build enjoyer. I like to share the builds and talk about them. This is a process you might want to consider with anything that you do in the game. You can just write down a notepad, hey, I started doing X at 230 and I want to measure how much currency I make, just write down, put a check mark for every single map that you run, anything like that. And just challenge yourself to analyze your process and what you do within the game. And, if you have specific goals that you might not be reaching, think about that process. Just do a little bit of data analysis. You don't have to like be super serious and open a spreadsheet. Just that process and a little bit of personal challenge can elevate your standard of play and your abilities. And the next time that you play the game, you will have more fun because you're doing better if that's what your end game goal is. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. I know it's been about a week. I really needed to decompress after the gauntlet. And in fact, special news for you all that are still here is I did start a second channel. that is going to be focused on non-Path of Exile content. I didn't want to advertise it at the beginning of the video. I don't have any content on there yet, but we have started mixing in other games on the stream if you're interested. Currently, I'm really focused on roguelikes and indie games and stuff like that I've been very interested in that I haven't had time to play because I've been playing PoE full time. So if you're interested in that, I will have a link to the second video in the description below. There's no content there yet. There's no branding or anything. I do plan on having content that is just a variety of games, as well as, you know, I really do like talking about like the process and the way that we interact with these games and how they fit in our lives. And if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe to that channel as well. There will be content there very, very soon. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I promise I will see you tomorrow. Later.